Hello and welcome. In this video, I'll tell you exactly what multiplication is, and I'll show you where the multiplication symbol came from, and I'll also go through with you an example and use the definition of multiplication to solve that example, and then we'll recap on the definition, and that will be it. Okay, so the definition for multiplication. So what multiplication means is this. Okay, multiplication means adding some groups of the same thing to get a collection of that same thing. Let's read that again. Multiplication means adding some groups of the same thing to get a collection of that same thing. Now, as you can see from the definition, multiplication is just addition, or it's just the process of adding some groups of the same thing to get a collection of that same thing. Okay, now let's talk about the multiplication symbol. The multiplication symbol is just a plus or addition symbol which has been rotated 45 degrees to give you the multiplication symbol. So as you can see, when we rotated the plus sign 45 degree clockwise, we got the multiplication symbol, and that goes back to our definition where we said multiplication is just adding the groups of the same thing to form a collection of that same thing. Example. Let's go through an example, okay? Let's say, what is 2 multiplied by 3, or 2 times 3? Now the first number here, number 2, is the number of groups, okay? So let's say we have the number of groups. Let's say in our case we have 2 plates, 1 and 2. Okay, now the second number, number 3, is the number of the same thing in each group. So in our case, we'll say, let's say the same thing that we want on each plate will be donuts. We want donuts on each plate. Now, how many do we want on each plate? 3 donuts on each plate. So we'll have 1, 2, and 3 donuts on the first plate, and on the second plate, we'll have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now from our definition, we said multiplication is just adding the groups of the same thing to form a collection of that same thing. Okay, the same thing here we have is donuts, and the number of groups is 2. So now, when we add all those donuts to form a collection of donuts, how many donuts will we have altogether? So let's find out. Let's say we get a bigger plate and we move all those donuts to that big plate, and while we move each donut, we'll count them one by one. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the collection of donuts that we made, or we formed, we have a total of 6 donuts in that collection. So the answer to 2 multiplied by 3, or 2 times 3, is 6. And what is 6? 6 is the number of donuts that we collected altogether. Alright, let's recap on the definition for multiplication. We said multiplication means adding some groups of the same thing to get a collection of that same thing. And we also saw that The multiplication sign or the symbol is just the addition symbol rotated 45 degrees. Okay? With that, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have understood the definition for multiplication. And I wish you all the best in your studies. Thank you.